Well, it's not working in prod. Indeed, it's not working in prod. Well, it's not my problem. It works just fine on my machine and on the dev server. Well,
I told you all systems are ISOs. And if it's working in dev, it's working in prod.
it's ISO?
Oh, yeah. Essentially, I mean, pretty much almost.
Almost? What do you mean, almost?
You know, there's maybe a very small gap in minor versions. And for some plugins. Nothing particularly important.
All right. I love that video. Never gets old.
It's awesome.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. My name is Peter McKee. I'm the head of developer relations here at Docker. And I got two of my favorite guests on, new guests. I don't think I've ever had you guys on the show yet, have I?
No.
No.
This
Awesome.
is also my first time I'm doing something live like this. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we already had a hiccup right in the beginning, streaming to the wrong channel. But anyways, awesome. So hey, I see people are in the live stream in there. If you want, let me know where you're at in the world. I'd love to see where everybody's coming from. We usually see everybody all over the place. So it's really cool to see where people are tuning in from. But today we're going to be talking about dev environments, a new feature that we're coming out with here at Docker. And I have two of our staff engineers here with me to kind of walk through it and talk all things dev environments. So hello, Guillaume, how are you?
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are both in France. I've been working at Docker for 4.5 years now, and I've been working with desktop, with the CLI, with Compose, recently with Compose V2, and now working a lot with Georgie and a bunch of other people on collaboration and dev environments.
Awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, Georgie, how are you, sir? Can you tell everybody?
I am well.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so Georgie, so I'm also staff engineer at Docker, and yeah, like Guillaume said, in France, but unlike him, who is in the south, I'm in Normandy, where it rains all the time. And yeah, I've been a little bit less at Docker, like two years and a half, and I switched a lot of teams. I worked like on Hub, I worked on Docker app that's like deprecated now, on Compose, on desktop, and so yeah, recently worked a bunch on the dev environments.
Awesome. Yeah, Guillaume, did you say 4.5 years? I think that's about how long I've been here, but I also did a little stint when we sold off the enterprise business at another company that shall go nameless. But yeah, so we must have joined roughly around the same time.
Yeah, I joined in March 2017, I think. 17.
Yeah, that was right. I joined, I think, right after DockerCon in Austin that year, 2017. Yeah,
pretty much sometimes.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm in Austin, and I didn't register for DockerCon because I was like, well, it's here, I'll go, maybe I won't go. And then I started talking to Docker, and I said, oh, well, I should probably go to the conference, and it was sold out. So, the rare time that DockerCon is here in my own hometown that was sold out, couldn't get a ticket, but I still snuck into the after hours events and festivities, but couldn't actually attend. But yeah. Oh, nice. We have Ishmael from Paris, France, or Frain. I'm sure that's probably supposed to be.
Yeah, it's France.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably types like I do, just leave out a couple words, make people guess. And I mean that with love, by the way. And then the Outer Banks of North Carolina. North Carolina is awesome. It's so beautiful there. In Germany. Awesome, guys. Great to see everybody. So today, we talk about dev environments. I'm pretty excited about this, right? At least to me, one of the biggest problems, and I wrote a blog about it a while back, but, joining a team and coming up to speed, right? Getting your environment set up is very hard, very complex, at least, I mean, if you can get a new machine and get productive in a week, that's like fast. That's like really fast, right? But yeah, I think dev environments could probably help there. But I don't know. Yeah, what's going on with dev environments? What are they?
So yeah, well, generally at Docker, we focus quite a lot on trying to improve the development feedback and development in a loop so that people can be productive and have some code changes that they can test and verify with ease of reproduction, etc. And we wanted to not do this only for one developer, but also for teams of developers, and make sure that we can improve the collaboration between developers, improve the productivity of teams, and the way people can share code changes and reproduce code changes easily from one machine to another. Make sure that you can, well, be productive with your teammates and easily share any updates that you do on the code, and have this working on someone else's machine and not just yours. So that's the basic driver for the dev environments. And what we saw is that people tend to collaborate a lot on pull requests with GitHub. That's a fantastic tool to exchange code modifications, comment on it, have some feedback from other people in the team, etc. And so people will do code review and will look at your code. And from time to time, you don't just need to look at the code, you also need to actually check out the pull request on your machine, build the application, and run it so that you can see how it behaves when you click on, when you actually exercise the UI, click on buttons, etc. You can see corner cases in the UI. You can see how it moves and not just how the code is built. So quite often, actually, you need to check out the PR and build some code locally, and then you get into the troubles of do I have the right tools installed on my machine so I can build the same thing as my coworker? Do I have the same dependencies? Do I have a specific setup that I'm missing? Why is the build not working? All these sort of things. So this is where we try to bring a dev environment to make the whole setup reproducible or easy to reproduce, and to have people share their work in progress very easily, including not just the code, but the building the app and running the binaries. That's the main idea with dev environments.
Yeah.
So yeah, dev environment is really about a local first experience of building your code changes and being able to share them with your teammates, share the setup, share the tools, and not only just the code. And we try to make this kind of magic with a one-click creation of the environment and one-click sharing with your teammates of any specific status that you're in, including your code modifications, your files that have been committed, your branch that you're working on, these sort of things.
Yeah, and I think too, in today's world, right? A lot of us are remote, and we've had an international distributed team for years, right here at Docker. But also, sitting in an office, you're sitting 2 cubes over for me, right? It works there too, right? It's that idea of, at least in my mind's eye, yeah, sure, you could switch branches pretty easily, right? And check out a PR, but just not code comes along with changes a lot of times, right? You have maybe change to a database structure, changes to test data, configuration, right? I've added a configuration, right? So yeah, I check out the PR, it doesn't work. And you go, oh, by the way, yeah, you have to add this to the config, right? And you have to do your local.
Yeah.
Where's your database? All those things, right?
So yeah, it's not always just the code, right? It's also the environment where it runs, the context and everything. So if you have some kind of problem, like when it's not the code but something that you have on your machine, you can't really, someone can help you. But if you run inside the container or your whole environment, then it kind of gets simpler.
Yeah. And also, yeah, you were mentioning, yeah, it's easy to check out the PR, and usually it's not an issue, but quite often I've got some current change on my machine, and then someone is asking me, could you check this PR? And so I need to stash my changes, move branches from my local changes to check out the PR. And then every now and again, you forget to switch back to your branch, so you start messing around with changes that are not on the right branch and that sort of thing. So it's also that side of things that we wanted to make much easier for everyone when you're sharing some code with someone else.
Yeah, I think I don't know, probably someone way smarter than me said one of the hardest things in software development is context switching, right?
Absolutely.
And, well, okay, naming variables and setting up your project structure. Those are pretty hard, right? Like, yeah, those are you would think it'd be something more complex, cache and validation or something, whatever. But yeah, I mean, those things are hard, right? And they're a pain, and Git can be nasty, right? You have to know it pretty deeply, right? And then remembering where you're at, right? So yeah, it'd be pretty cool to be able to hit a button. Okay, let me look at what you sent me. It's all packaged up. I'm there. I'm isolated. And then okay, good. And now I'm back to where I was, right? I think that's super important for developers, right? That context switching will just kill your productivity, right? Awesome. Do you guys got some things to show us, right? So maybe some demo.
Yeah. So maybe we can run a demo and show this working.
Awesome.
So hopefully you can see my screen in a second. Yeah.
There we go.
Do that. So this is a recent build of Docker Desktop. It's been available for the past couple of weeks, I think. And we've got a new tab here, Dev Environments. So it's available for anyone with a recent Docker Desktop application. So what we can see here, we've got a video to explain a bit a few things we mentioned already, explain why we are building dev environments. And then you can try some samples, and you can also start a dev environment from any of your Git projects. So I'm going to start using this and take a sample Git project. So I will just copy paste the URL of this. I could specify a branch name as a suffix of the URL, but here I'll just take the base one and just hit create, and this is going to clone my Git repository and then detect the language that I'm working inside this repository. So here it's a Go project, and based on that, it's going to create a new dev environment with the tooling for this particular language, and open my IDE. So here it's going to open VS Code on this project. So I'm actually here running VS Code with connecting to a remote container that contains all the setup that we've been doing, so cloning the project and having the right Go setup. I can open terminal on that. So I can see that I've got my code that has been checked out here. I can just take a look at the makefile here. So it's a Go project with a basic Go command. I can check that I've got Go installed.
Guillaume, can you bump up? See if you can bump up VS Code a little bit.
Oh,
probably the command plus. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's going to be better.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. So I've got Go installed already in my dev environment. So all of this is really actually executing inside the container. It's just I don't need to know about it. It's all isolated, so I don't need to install any Go tools on my local host. If I trash the container, I don't get Go on my host installed, so it doesn't pollute my host. If I'm working on a different branch of the same repo or anything locally, it doesn't interact with my local changes. So it's all nicely isolated in a container, and I can work pretty much as usual. So I've got the Go tooling, I've got Git installed as well, and I can check my config like this, so I can see that I'm running in Git as Guillaume Tardif. It's actually bridged to my host credentials.
Nice.
So the credentials themselves are not in the container, but there's a bridge so that I can commit and pull and push as usual from here. And so I'm going to try to run this server. It's a basic web server with just a basic page. Make run.
So you're inside the container right now.
So yeah, this terminal is running inside the container through VS Code remote containers. So here VS Code detected that the server has opened a port inside the container. So I can open a browser on that, and I've got my my page served here. So here in my local browser, I can see and I can connect to my server running inside the dev container.
Awesome.
And if I go back here, so yeah, as I was saying, I've got Git installed. If I want, I can check out the branch. So I'm going to start a new branch. branch, if I can type. Yeah, I'm working with my new branch here. I can do some changes in the code. Just dismiss that. Hello from Docker Live. And I will run the server again. I can still see my changes live, that's cool. And sorry. So here I'm pretty much, well, I'm happy with my changes. I could push that to a PR and start opening a PR to share this with some coworkers. But if I want some pre-check or pre-test from someone else who might be doing some other changes as well, improving the code or anything, I can share the state of where I'm at the moment and share this with someone else. They will be able to just pick it up exactly where I am. Before I share, I can also see that VS Code is actually seeing my changes with the Git plugin of VS Code. So it's exactly the same setup as if I was working locally, except that what's happening here in this terminal is actually executed in the container. And so I can run my code, etc. So coming back here, I will, so this is my dev environment that has been created initially. I can see that if I close VS Code, I can reopen it here, and it's going to reopen it exactly in the same state. And I've got this share button here that will allow me to share the current state of my dev environment. And I'm going to share this with Georgie. So to share this, we actually store all the state of this dev container inside an image, and we push this to Docker Hub so that Georgie can then pull the image from Docker Hub and get the state on his machine. So here I'm using my Hub account to be able to share that. To share this as demo. And here it's going to actually take the state from my running container, put this inside an image, and then push it to Hub. So it might take a bit of time to actually exchange this and push this to Hub. And eventually I will end up with just a link that I can copy paste in Slack or any exchange with any.
There it is.
Nice. Anyway, and I can send this to Georgie. And then I guess I can just stop sharing my screen, and I will let Georgie continue showing what's happening next.
All right.
Yep.
Did you get the
the
link? Yeah.
There we go, Georgie.
All right. So yep. Thanks. All right. So so Guillaume gave me the link in a chat. What I can do with it is the same as Guillaume did just before. You just put here here you can see Docker.io, his account, and then the image tag, and then you just hit on create. So now I don't know if you can see, but it says it's pulling an image. So before it saw that it was a Git repo, so we cloned it, but this time it's an image that's on Hub. So that's why we just pull the image, and then as before, we open the VS Code with the code inside. So yeah, here you can see it's it says echo. Can you hear me well?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not getting an echo on my side.
Okay, cool.
But hopefully it was just a glitch in the matrix. Sorry, Kevin. Let me know if it keeps happening.
All right, so I just want to show before a little thing. So if I do git config like Guillaume did just before, you can see that it's my user now that's using Git. It's not Guillaume, so we didn't share any Git credentials or anything. And as you can see, I am on a branch, and it says that Git has some changes. So if I do git status, I can see that there's a change in main.go over here. So it's the same changes that Guillaume had. And I can also, of course, run and open it in the browser, and it opened over here. Okay, and there you go. So I just want, before continuing, so I just want to like stop a little bit and recap what happened here. So Guillaume started with just a repository that's on GitHub. We created a dev environment with that code. So all the code is inside the volume. I don't know if Guillaume said that. So when we clone the code inside the volume because that way you don't have any problems with performances of the file system. All right, so we created that environment. Guillaume made some changes. He changed the branch. He changed his code, and then he shared that thing over to me, and I started the exact same environment on my machine. So that's kind of what just happened here,
Yeah.
which I think is cool.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Just to want to touch on that point real quick. So we're using volumes, right?
Yep.
And so that gives us a better speed performance. So we're not having to marshal back and forth between so desktop, you're running on Windows or if you're running on Mac, right? Just and correct me if I'm wrong on the architecture here, but actually with desktop, we're running a little VM that we're actually running the engine inside of.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So everything is running inside of that very thin VM. And then outside of that, the CLI is running natively. And then we do some networking to point it back inside the VM. So you're talking to the engine inside of the VM.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a blog post actually in our blog from Dave, who explains actually how we do all the syncing of the file system.
Yeah. Okay. While you're talking, I'm going to dig that blog up and I'll post it to folks. Awesome.
Yep.
And before we go on, I think this is a really cool point too that I had forgot when I saw dev environments and playing around with them myself, is the Git configuration, right? So Guillaume was working locally. He had all his Git set up inside of that dev container. Now, when you pulled it, you didn't have Guillaume's, you had George's, right?
Yeah.
Yours. That's pretty cool. How does that work? How's that?
So you could imagine a scenario where I do a first commit and then I pass the dev environment to Georgie, and he can add on things and do a second commit in the same branch. And we're just seamlessly working and adding commits one next to another with our names on each commit properly set up. And we can do some real teamwork on the same branch and eventually push and create a pull request that has commits from myself and commits from Georgie quite easily.
Yeah. And is that copied into the volume, the Git
No.
config, or is it?
So no, it's for all the credentials and everything. There's like a bridge between the Git that's inside the container and your Git on the host. So like when you clone over Git or when you use Git, there are like two ways you can clone over HTTPS or SSH, and there are different kind of mechanisms like the credential helpers that Git uses. So basically, when the Git inside the container tries to talk to the credential helpers, we proxy that over to the Git that's on the host, and then it's just everything works.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah,
it was really fun to implement. Also, yeah.
Yeah, neat. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then it just works, right? I love. Yeah, and I forget who this quote is attributed to, right? But it's really good technology is almost like magic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It just works, right? It just works seamlessly. It's like magic.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's how we're doing it internally. Awesome. Okay, sorry for interrupting, but I thought those two little quick things were very, very interesting to me, right? To make this work seamlessly.
Yeah, sure. Right. So. On to the next demo. I'm just gonna remove this one. So this was like the first example is a simple example where you have your application inside one container, but in real life you usually have like maybe a front end, a back end, a database. So it's not really just one component. You can have multiple components. So that's why we also try to make this work with Compose based applications, right? So we have here, like you can have we opened like created some samples, and there's one for Compose. I'm just going to show it before. So it's public on GitHub, so you can go on GitHub Docker samples and compose dev. It's an application that has a backend, it has a database, and then a proxy that's just an Nginx proxy. So just a quick aside. We took this application from the Awesome Compose repository. So if you go here, it's on Docker Awesome Compose. It has a bunch of examples of stacks, different stacks that you can just take and use for your own application. Like you have React Express in MySQL with Java or Rust or anything. So feel free to go over there and steal the ideas that you see.
Yeah, nice.
Yep. Right. So then I just want to show quickly. So in the backend, there we have a Docker file. So this is a multi-stage Docker file. So we have the first. We have the first stage that's used for building, where we just build the server. There's another stage that is for development, where we install Git and then just run the server. And then there's the last one that's the stage that you would use when you build the application and then just deploy it somewhere. And then what we did is we created, so if you have a repository that has a .docker folder and that has a Docker Compose inside, that means for us, for dev environments, that means that it's a Compose-based application. So we will try to do a Docker Compose up on this file. And it's if you take a look at it, it's a simple. I mean, it's not simple. It's
relatively simple.
Relatively simple, but what I meant to say was it doesn't. It's not really different from any other Compose file that you would write, right? So you have a service. There's a backend service that you build with the backend context, like the backend folder. We just give it the target development, and then there are some secrets. Database is just an image. We're not using MySQL but MariaDB because this one works on the new M1 Max. And then the last service is just a proxy service, and we build inside the proxy directory, and it opens supports, right? So it's not simple, but it's the usual stuff that we just use every day, right? So.
I love this. Yep. Pierce, thanks, Pierce. I love your. Sorry, I just saw. Oh my God, this is real. Yes, it is, Pierce. Okay, sorry, that just cracked me up. Good, I'm messing up. Finally, yep. Sorry, I'm messing up your flow there. Good. This is okay. So you were talking about Compose, a normal Compose file. All right.
Yeah, it's the Compose file that you know, right? So I'll just copy this one and put it over here and click on Create. So it's the same stuff as before. So we cloned before. It's all right, Pierce.
No worries, Pierce. We love it. Yeah. We love your excitement.
So we cloned, and then you can see it says building Compose tag, because we saw that it's a Compose-based application because there's like this .docker file and the Compose file. So we build it first. So here, for me it's cached because I already built it before. So. And then it starts the application. So you can see there are my three components running of my app, and also I think I can, if I go here and then, was it 8080? Yes. Okay. Nice. So if the stack is running, the backend calls the database and gets the blog posts, and then Nginx proxies all that. So everything works, right? And now I want to work on it. So you click on the Open in VS Code button, and so what this does is it removes the container that was running with the backend code and creates a new container that contains your whole development environment and the code for and your code. And so this container also runs in the stack, so you can like all the networking stuff of Compose works, and you can see a new icon so that you know that this one is a special container that's a development environment container. Right, and then yep.
So Georgie, real quick, while you bring that up, so so everything starts up just kind of almost a little bit normally like a Compose application, but we're all in containers, right?
Yep.
And so it's running locally, right? And then you say, oh, hey, I want to work on the back end. So you hit the little button there.
Yep.
And then that removes that kind of just thinner container, starts up a new one with your code inside of it, just like Guillaume was showing us earlier.
Yep.
But then allows you connect into it through VS Code. Okay, cool. That's
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so yeah, it lives inside the application, so it can talk to the proxy or the database. So it's and of course I can. So the code is where it's here. So if I change just a little bit of code here, hello, then I can go into the backend and then go run main.go. And it started, and if I open, okay, it opened here once again, and you can see it has my changes like hello, blog post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. And that's I'm sorry, one last thing, but that's the thing with the Compose. There's one thing we are working on. You can't for now share a Compose application, but we are working on it. So it should be available soon. And also, I just wanted to quickly show another feature that came out in Docker Desktop just quickly recently, because we are cloning the code inside volumes and everything, and that's why also we created this volumes panel where you can now easily see all your volumes, and you can even click inside, see what container uses your volume, and you can also go and look at what's inside the volume.
Nice.
Which is I think really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many times on the command line I'm like, what is that volume? Who's using it? What is it?
Yeah.
What's inside of it? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So you can remove also volumes here. So yeah.
Nice. Well, we got a. If you're ready, we got a pretty good question.
Yep.
From Tyler. Let's see how good it shows up on the screen. Okay. So yeah, how would one handle a multi-repo environment? So you have one repo front end, one for the back end, and maybe even a third for a service or something like that. What's kind of what's your thoughts around that? I'll leave the question up there.
We're still working a bit on or adding features related to repos. So quite recently we added the ability to create a dev from a branch. We know that some people are asking for creating a dev environment from a local repo, so that if you've already checked out the code on your machine, or you're just about to create a repo and got things on your local machine, we're going to work on that. That one, yeah, we need to figure out what's the best UX and what's the best usage we can do with multi-repo, so that it doesn't get too complex. But we know we got some possible new features to bring on that side. Not sure if you want to bring something else, Georgie, or add something more.
Yeah, no, we need to think about. I honestly didn't think about like multiple repositories. I guess it would be just each repository would have their own definition of the dev environment, and then you would run multiple environments. I guess that would be.
That's what you would do today. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say here's a good time for a plug, but yeah. So we have a feedback on GitHub. So if you get it, github.com, Docker dev-environments. Join in the conversation there, right? Add a feature request, put in bugs, any kind of thoughts you have. But yeah, these guys are in there. Our engineers are in there. They view it. Our product managers are in there. So yeah, please, that's the best place to go. Add your scenario, right? That you're thinking about how you might use dev environments, or even questions, concerns, and also bugs. Any feedback, if you test this out, please add some feedback in there. We do read it. It does help us a lot. So just a quick wanted to bring that up real quick.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, we we love feedback, and we also love bug issues that give us bugs. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So,
So
love
I
to see
saw
all Docker advanced support for AI. No, we're getting there. I'm not sure. A lot of our AI is just really smart engineers right now. Well, they're not artificial. I guess our HI, human intelligence.
human intelligence.
Okay, cool. So, so tell me a little bit. So I have a couple questions. I've been playing around with this. So in the images, right there on desktop, I see a couple images. What's being used? What are we using under the covers to kind of make this all work? Is it just plain images? Do we have tools inside of images? How's some of that working?
Right. So we created 5 or 6 images, like base images that you would use for your dev environments. So we have one for Go, we had one for Java, JavaScript, and I guess that's it. And so inside we install, well, if like for the Go image, we install Go, and also we install Git and Docker Docker Compose, so that you can use everything in there. So those are the normal images, but different in a way that you wouldn't want to deploy that in production, right? Because it has a bunch of like useless tools that are only useful for you when you're developing. And also, so yeah, we have those images, and we try to detect what language you're using, so that we can give you like the right image. But there's also a way it's written in the docs, and we didn't have time to demo it, but you can define your base image for that. So if you need something else, you can just create an image, push it on Hub, and then use it for your environment.
Oh yeah, so you can use a custom base image for your dev environment.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Well, I mean, it's yeah, you need that because every project is different, and you need like other tools.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some environment where you use a crazy tool that maybe not everybody uses, but you use it for whatever reasons, legacy reasons, whatever. Yeah, nice. Okay, we got some questions screaming by here. So Sujay, pardon me. When you start the container, does it create a new network at the back end, or uses the previous network created by Compose? So I think that's maybe hinting at, I have my Compose file, I'm using that to work mostly, and then I run a dev environment using that Compose, and I already have that network created. Does it reuse that?
It reuses. It reuses it. The network is not. It's reused. Yeah. It's when you click on the open in VS Code so that we switch. It's what we do actually is we change the Compose file and then redo Compose up, and then it's actually Compose that knows how to do that. So we're just standing on the shoulders of giants, right? We're just making it easier.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, the dev of container takes the place of the application container and is attached to the same network, etc. So this is what in George's example just before, he just restarted the server from the dev of container, and that was automatically included in the Compose stack, and the whole thing was running fully connected.
Yeah. Okay, I love this question. I get this question all the time, at least once a show. If not, I get it asked on Twitter or whatever. Is there any plan to support Docker Desktop for Linux systems? Yes. Right? We're talking about it. We're planning on it. What's the deal there? You guys know the secrets.
Yeah, well, there are some plans. We've got some discussions, and it's mainly a matter of prioritizing things and knowing what we need to do first.
Yeah,
we want to do things, but yeah, it's definitely in the backlog. If you go and look at our roadmap, it's in the roadmap as well. It's mainly a question of how we prioritize this and how we approach it.
Yeah. So let me pull up here. So I usually do this at the end, but I'll do it right now. Yeah. So it's on our radar. It's a big ask from the community. And like Guillaume said, I think it's a matter of just prioritizing. But I think it makes sense. But please go to the roadmap, upvote. What do we call it on GitHub? You know, thumbs up, upvote. I don't know if there's a +1, right? But in there, comment, and you could follow it right on the roadmap. That public roadmap is our roadmap. That's what we use. And you know, all the engineers, not all of them, but a lot of the engineers are in there. Our product people are in there. But yeah, that's how we prioritize things. That's how we look at what we're going to do next, right? We want to, you know, fulfill our customers, the developers out there, what they need, what they're looking for. So Linux is definitely Docker desktop for Linux is definitely on our radar, and we've been having a lot of talks about it for sure. Awesome. Let's see, we're getting a bunch. It's my interface. When I hover over people's questions, it puts a big blue show over it. So it's someone's calling you. Oh, I saw a great question up here from Pierce. So let me pull this up. I have the same kind of question. Yeah, is this function not exposed on the command line yet, or is it just GUI only for now?
So for now, it's GUI only, but we've got plans to make this available in the command line. And yeah, it's just something we need to do. Yet one more thing to do, but yeah, we've thought about it. It's in the plans, just not available yet.
Yeah, I think that's definitely well. So you know, we showed in the demos, we pulled up in VS Code. Is there plans to use other IDEs, or even just, you know, kind of hinting at this question, right? Well, you know, I just stay in the terminal all day and I use VI or whatever it is, right? Yeah. So is there other plans to support integrations with other IDEs, those type of things? What are you guys' thoughts around that?
Yeah. So yeah, currently we've started with VS Code, but we're talking with JetBrains, we're talking with other editors, and we've got plans to. We want to make this kind of independent from a specific vendor, and the idea is that you can just clone any Git repo and start a demo with it and use it with any IDEs. So actually, we do support VS Code for the moment, but if you're a big fan of VI, you can get inside your terminal in the dev environment, and then install VI and start working with VI. And then you can share this with other people. They can also work with VI. So if you don't want to work with VS Code, you can just open a terminal inside the container, start it for the dev environment, and just use your tools in the terminal as you would locally. So that's one thing that's possible today as well.
Yeah, I was thinking. So right now, I could use a custom base image, right, and put my tools in there, and then from the Docker desktop, enter the terminal, go right into that dev environment, right inside that container, and work that way, right? So I think that might be the best way to handle it right now, at least in my mind's eye. And like Guillaume was saying, we're building and adding features, you know, very quickly. So again, another plug to the roadmap. Go put your. Let me pull up dev environments too. So give us feedback there. Enter bugs, please. Really appreciate it. So if you want to try out that, you know, creating your base image and then connecting to it where you have your tools, and let us know what's not working, maybe a better workflow, those type of things. We'd love to hear it for sure. Awesome. Let me take one more chat. Look at chat. Yeah, just a lot of, yeah, this is cool. We want it. Give it to us. But yeah, well, awesome, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. Where, if people want to reach out and connect on the internets, where's the best place?
Probably there's a Slack channel on the Docker community that people can reach out to us.
Yep.
Awesome. And then the GitHub repository that you mentioned already for feedback. But yeah, we're accessible through Slack on the community channel as well. There's a specific channel for dev environments.
Yeah, we got a little. At least I did. I got a little bit of echo from there. But Guillaume was saying, you know, our community Slack. Join there. Go to /Docker-community. That'll connect you into all of our community properties. So into Meetup, you can find local meetups. A lot of our Docker captains run those. A lot of our engineers go to those meetups. That's one way to connect in. And then one of the best ways to reach out and interact with Docker, the whole community, and also us engineers and product folks, is in our community Slack. There'll be a link if you go to that website there, docker.com/docker-community. You'll see a link in there to join the community Slack. Please join. We also have a dedicated channel in our community Slack. It's docker-dev-environments. And go in there is for specifically talking and chatting and discussing dev environments. But yeah, that's the best way to connect into us. Georgie, anywhere else, folks, if they want to reach out to you, talk to you, harass you, ask you about the best wine in Normandy or whatever it is?
I think I understood the question. So if people want to reach out, you can reach out on Twitter. You can see my handle. And yeah, the Slack, the community Slack also, I'm pretty much there every day.
Yeah.
Happy to talk.
Yeah, you guys are always on there. And everybody's really responsive, very helpful. So it's a great community. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter, reach out to me. LinkedIn is fine too. Just search for my name and Docker, you'll find me. Yeah, send me a message if you have a question. I do ask that, I get a lot of people reaching out to me, and it's very, very hard to help troubleshoot very specific niche problems, like in Slack and LinkedIn, right? And definitely Twitter. And what not 144 characters? What I got, 244 now, 240, something like that. But anyway, so if I'm not very responsive with those type of questions, how do I troubleshoot my specific issue on my machine in production, right? It's very hard to do that. So I'm not ignoring you. It's just very hard to do. But please, other questions, reach out. You have configuration questions, how to use Docker, anything like that. Any kind of content, any kind of guests you would like to see on the show, please let me know. Reach out to me, tweet at me. It's probably the best. Again, go to our community. It really is the best way to connect in with all of us at Docker. Go to docker.com/docker-community. Join our Slack channel. Find a meetup close to you. COVID is kind of slowing down a tiny bit. I know we got some variants in those things, so be safe. Whatever's comfortable for you. A lot of the meetups are still doing virtual meetups, so a little bit different than in person, but it's the best that we got right now. But some meetups are coming online. Closer towards the year, end of the year. But yeah, and again, I want to bring up the roadmap in case everybody missed that before. Check out our roadmap, github.com/docker/roadmap. That is our roadmap. And please put in your feature requests, read the other feature requests, and you can see exactly what we're working on. And I'll bring up and I'll leave this up on the screen as we go out. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I know it's later for you in the day than for me. I really appreciate it. You guys are doing some really cool stuff. I'm excited for every version that comes out. I always try and grab a new version. Super excited about dev environments. Yeah, thank you so much. And hopefully maybe in a month or two, I'll have you back on and we can do an update. Maybe what would be interesting is I put together something and you guys can help me hack through it, and I can share it with you and do a custom dev environment using Compose, something pretty complex. But we can talk offline, or maybe I'll just surprise you and bring you on live, and we'll see how bad we mess it up. But anyways, again, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining in and watching us. I really appreciate it. We'll be back next Thursday. Have Michael Kennedy on. We'll be talking all things Python and Docker. We have a really good show next week, so join us again next Thursday. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend and stay safe.
Thanks for hosting the show.
Thank you. Bye.